Hello, welcome back to the Land Rover Toolbox videos. Today we'll be replacing this ball joint which is on the drop arm of the Defender. This is slightly different from the Discovery because this stays in the drop arm. It's quite a job actually to get the drop arm off the steering box, but we've pulled this off to make it easy enough to understand by doing it on the bench. You can do this on the vehicle. Right, so we have the drop arm in the vise, and first of all we're going to remove this clip. Now a little tip here is to use a pin punch and just knock the clip around. Once that starts to move, then you know it's free enough to be able to take out with a different tool. You could use a pin punch to remove it completely, however we're going to use a pair of circlip pliers. However badly they are fitting because they're a little bit too small on the needles to remove, but it'll still come out. Okay, so it needs a little bit more persuasion, and there you go. The circlip has been removed, and then you can push near enough the whole of the assembly out. I'll give it a little tap with a hammer first, and what you'll see is the ball joint, the shank, and the bottom cup. You can also see the condition of how the grease has got in this joint. Right, so you have a top and bottom cup, and the top cup you really need a tool to be able to push it in or remove it. Just as we happen to have it, this is a tool which is available from Paddock. This will remove the cup that's stuck in the top there. Generally what you're going to use is a socket and spanner and push it out. With the kit you get two different bosses, and the smaller of the two is used to push the cup out. It's not actually in that tight, and a little tap has got it removed like so. So this is a cup removal. Right, so the next thing to do is to clean this up as much as you can, get all the grit, grease, rust and everything else out. A bit of WD-40 helps. Once you're ready to put this back in, you'll see the top cup and the bottom cup here. Right, well they have to go back in, but it's the top cup that needs to be pushed in with the tool. Right, so we'll put the other pieces away for now that are in the bag of the kit. It's quite a complex joint, this one. However, once you know how to do it, it's very easy. So first, the top cup fits in like so, and it needs to be pushed in to seat correctly. You could use a punch if you wanted to, however this tool makes it really easy. Okay, so we're using the wider boss this time to push. This won't get stuck in the housing at all. Right, so using the large washer on the other side, and basically it's just the same thing again. Nut and bolt, 19mm, I think that's 19mm or 17mm, nope, it's 19mm, and it's just a matter of winding it in until it comes to a stop. Right, well I'm speeding this up just a little bit because it does take a little while, and then when it gets to a stop, don't push it any further. Right, that is now seated. The rest is just plain sailing. Okay, so a little bit of grease on the seat first, and then the next thing to do is to a little bit more grease in there and put the ball in with the bottom cup. Alright, so basically that's your ball joint. The next thing to do is to fit the rubber grease O-ring and make sure you get it to sit on the shoulder where it's supposed to live, and don't have it kinked like that is right now. You then need to put the spring in like so. Now this keeps the tension on the bottom cup and the ball joint working correctly without any lift. And then you put the bottom cap on, and you'll need to be able to retain this. Because there's a spring there, you need to put some pressure on this cap to be able to get the clip into place. Best way to do this is to have a large socket which is long enough to cover over the one part, and then use a socket on the other end with a G-clamp like so. You push it until it's past a groove, and then you can get your clip on. Clip fits on like so, and then if you're lucky it will fit into place almost straight away. However, using these again, the needles are a little bit small, and to be honest with you, I left the best set I have at work. So what we're going to do is struggle a little bit, and I'll show you a problem sometimes that happens. Okay, the clip won't go in, I try and push it, and it's still not going. The reason for that is the socket is actually in the way, and it didn't take long to realise that the socket needed to be moved just slightly. You use a small enough socket so you can actually get the clip into place. Okay, so what we've realised that we have to move the socket just a little bit so we can get the head of the circlip in like so, and it's just dropped into place naturally. Right, so the other end we have a rubber boot and this mysterious piece of metal which took a little bit of working out what to do with it. Okay, so you turn the cap inside out and then pull it round the right way, and that's a strengthener for the boot. Couldn't find another reason for it. Right, so I'll put another little bit of grease in here. You don't have to overpack this, and multi-purpose lithium grease is fine for ball joints, but we'll slap that in the boot as well, or the gaiter, whichever you like to call it, and this will keep some of the water out and keep it lubricated. Right, the next thing to do is put the metal clip on the top first of all before you fit the gaiter into place. Right, then it's a matter of slipping it in like so, and then getting your gaiter over the grooves. Okay, so at the top, once that's slipped in and it's sitting there nicely, you can then put a garter on, which is supplied in the kit. This is almost the last piece to fit. Basically, all you do is just roll it over, and don't forget my hands are very greasy here, so it's taking a little bit of time. But once that's in place like so, the ball joint is ready. You can fit it to the vehicle, put your washer on, your castellated nut, which should fit and wind down easily. If it doesn't, check the threads. And then, basically, these are torqued up, according to Land Rover manual, to 40 Newton meters. Right, so once that's torqued up, you should, by all rights, the castellated nut should match the hole, so you can push your split pin through and bend it off to finish it. Well, we're still at the stage of putting the drop arm back onto the steering box first of all, and then torquing it up before we fit the steering box to the vehicle. Okay, so we'll be having tutorials coming up on the Land Rover Toolbox video channel about steering and drag links and such like, so stay tuned.